guys, welcome to the breastfeeding video. Finally, I told you I was going to get to it and here I am. This video has been kind of intimidating me a little bit because I really want to give you guys a good video with good advice and good tips. Of course, it all comes from my experience and my beliefs on breastfeeding, so I'm not a doctor or a lactation consultant, of course, so if you have real problems, then go get yourself into one. But I just want to say before I start this that I wholeheartedly support women in any way they choose to raise their family or feed their families, and this is just my experience with breastfeeding and long-term breastfeeding and my tips and advice for you guys. I've been breastfeeding for 3.5 years now. Mackenzie weaned right before her 3rd birthday when I was about 16 weeks pregnant. My milk dried up and she was starting to self-wean anyway. So I've nursed right from the newborn stage all the way through the toddler years, and it was a really amazing experience, and I'm really excited to be doing it again. I full-heartedly believe in extended breastfeeding and nursing past infancy. I believe that humans were made to do it, and there's lots of information provided that kind of supports that. And so I really believe in letting my children wean themselves. I feel like my body and their body are very smart and natural and they work together, and we can come to a good point that is beneficial for both mother and child. I exclusively breastfed Mackenzie for her 1st year, and I plan to do that again with Grayson. Mackenzie was introduced to her very first taste of solids at 10 months old, and we really took into heart that food before 1 is just for fun, and so we are not typical solids at 6 months, but that is an entirely different topic, so we'll just keep to breastfeeding here. I just want to really stress that every mother and every baby is so different and unique, and I'm doing this video because if any of my experience or my advice or tips from the things I've encountered or stories from friends or my personal self could help anybody even the slightest bit, then that is exactly why I'm doing this video. So if something is not quite your cup of tea, just don't worry about it, and I hope that you can choose or you can take something from this video. I believe breastfeeding has a lot to do with confidence and pride. I think to have a successful nursing relationship, I think you need to be really confident and prideful in what you're doing. I think if you're self-conscious about breastfeeding, or if what you think you're doing is wrong, or other people will judge you for it or think it's weird or something, I think you might struggle with breastfeeding a little more. So I really believe in finding support, or just even if it's in your own community or a girlfriend or a parent or something, and get yourself confident in a confident place so you can stand firm and be proud of what you're doing for you and your child. I also think attitude is a huge factor in your success in breastfeeding. If you have a good, positive, open-minded attitude towards breastfeeding and your baby and the experience you're about to encounter or you are on, I think it will really help. For example, when you run into problems with breastfeeding, if you have an attitude of, it's just a bump in the road, I can do this, we'll move on, like, my body was made to do this, I can breastfeed, I can do this, I can seek help, you will have a far better success rate than somebody who might be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore, this is so hard, like I have no support. So I really think that your attitude and your personal feelings has a huge impact on your nursing journey. So if I can give one huge tip, is have a positive attitude and a positive outlook on nursing, and be willing to take advice from people who are educated on the subject or who are willing to give you good information. If you're having a problem with breastfeeding, Google is a great place to start, or friends who have nursed, family who have nursed, women who have nursed for a long time. But more importantly, if your problem is a little more severe, or the tips and tricks you're using from other people or the advice you're taking is not working, I highly suggest seeking out a lactation consultant. Not a doctor, not somebody who's not qualified in specifically breastfeeding, but a lactation consultant, because that's what they do. They do breastfeeding, they do babies, and so they can diagnose issues in you that is nursing specific that somebody else might miss, like a family member or even a doctor sometimes. So if you're having problems, go see a lactation consultant. Alright, so now I'm going to give you my tips and tricks for all things nursing. Nursing in public can be a very overwhelming experience for many moms. Now, my advice, number one, I go out nursing without a cover. I've never ever used a cover for my babies, and I don't foresee me needing one or wanting to use one. Now, just because I don't use a cover doesn't mean I can't nurse discreetly. I believe nursing is perfectly normal and natural and needs to be normalized no matter if you're in your own home or out at the shopping mall. But I also don't flop my boob out and just go to town. To stay discreet, what I do is I wear a stretchy tank top underneath my shirt and a shirt that can easily be lifted up. So what I do is I lift my top shirt up like like this, and I pull my tank top down. So actually there's like no skin showing. You can just, and then you can sort your shirt so that literally it's just where the baby needs and nothing else shows. I've had many people hold conversations with me that had no clue I was nursing, and I've never used a cover. Secondly, you should really be prepared when you're nursing in public. Make sure you have everything with you, like your water bottle or a nursing blanket, like a receiving blanket to catch any spit up, or if baby unlatches, you can quickly cover yourself. It will just make your whole experience much more comfortable and less overwhelming. A good thing to do if you're nervous nursing in public would be to play with your baby or to distract yourself. Even if you have to play on your phone while baby's nursing or reading a book, just sometimes forgetting that people are around you, because sometimes you might feel like, oh, everybody's watching me, what if I get a dirty look? Just distracting yourself and trying to keep yourself as stress-free and calm as possible will really help your nursing in public experience. For nighttime nursing, I highly recommend bed sharing if you are comfortable with it and if you are able to provide a safe bed sharing environment. I think it's extremely important to only bed share if you know exactly how to bed share safely for both you and your child. With bed sharing, you don't have to get up and go to a different room. You don't even have to leave the bed. You just scoop baby over to you, or pull up your shirt, or don't wear a shirt, and fall back asleep if you choose. Another tip for nighttime nursing is block feeding, so that you don't have to actually switch sides with baby when you're sleeping. I've block fed for both my children so far, and it's really helped. So I'll nurse on one side right before baby goes to sleep, and then all night in bed I'll nurse on that one side, and then in the morning the other side gets fed on for the first couple feeds in the morning until everything evens out. And your body does get used to it, and you kind of have to gently push yourself into it, but well, not push yourself, but if you go look into block feeding, you can learn more about it, and it has made nursing at night just a breeze for me. One other thing, keep a burp cloth close, because if any of you are like me, I can spray across the room, and so at night, if I'm not paying enough attention or if I don't have a close burp cloth, I end up getting soaked. So keep a burp cloth close. For your breast milk supply, my personal advice is to maintain your milk supply would be not to pump. Avoid the pump. I know you hear pump, but if you can go and do your research, and I've actually found that pumping can decrease your supply, create nipple confusion, confuse your baby, and it can be really hard to balance. Plus you get less sleep, which decreases your milk. It can be stressful, which also decreases your milk. And so if you can avoid pumping, I highly suggest avoiding the bottle and the pump completely. Skin to skin time is extremely important, and not just for newborns. In their first year, and just to continuously build your milk supply and maintain it, is very important to always be touching skin to skin with your baby. And I mean, not all the time, but in the morning or at nighttime, if you could take off your shirt or just sit in your bra and baby could be in diaper while you're nursing, that will really help your milk supply. Co-sleeping also really helps milk supply, as it keeps baby close, and when baby is close, your bodies naturally sync together, and your breasts are able to create the milk that baby needs, and also baby will wake more or less depending on your baby, which will create a good supply and demand for your baby, so that you keep the perfect amount of milk in your breasts for your baby, which leads me to maintaining supply and demand with keeping your baby close in the bed with you, or near the bed, or room sharing. You get to hear your baby's cues at night and their wake-ups, because it's so important to catch every wake-up and every opportunity you can when your baby is hungry to nurse them, in order for your supply to stay high and healthy and good. I found in my personal experience and from a lot of other parents and things I've read online, pacifiers are not usually recommended. I know it's tempting, and believe me, I almost used a passy for Grayson, but we decided against it because especially in those first days, those first few weeks, it's so important to let your baby, even if they're just sucking, it's really important because that creates your supply and demand, because you are learning when your baby is actually hungry and when they're just tired and wanting to comfort nurse. But all of that increases your milk supply, especially if you have a low supply. Letting baby just suckle at the breast will create more, because with supply and demand, the more demand there is, the more your supply increases. Baby wearing also, along with the skin to skin thing, they kind of go hand in hand, will also help your milk supply, as keeping baby close just naturally increases hormones that produce your breast milk. So it's really awesome to get a great wrap, and make sure they're a good wrap where baby's knees are up, not one of those like baby Bajorn carriers where your baby's legs are just like dangling. But get a good wrap and baby wear, and not only will you be able to use your hands to go do dishes and fold some laundry or just chat with your friends or something, you'll be boosting your milk supply at the same time. There are also some herbs you can take to increase your supply, like fenugreek, and you can Google that and there'll be tons that pop up. And also there are some foods you can consume, like eating a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast every morning. Not instant oatmeal, like get some, even if you just eat quick oats, but like some real oatmeal every morning will increase and boost your milk supply, or throwing a cup of oatmeal in your smoothies in the morning. And also drinking red raspberry leaf tea can stimulate milk production. Now with a high supply or an oversupply, some things you could do would be to block feed. You can hand express first before you latch baby on. Some women find it really helpful to let the baby nurse, unlatch them, let the letdown happen, and then unlatch and like catch the letdown either in one of those milk saver bags, in a cup, or just in a burp cloth. And then baby doesn't get so overwhelmed by the amount of milk, and they're getting that good high milk as well. And with a high milk supply, it's also very important to feed on demand, because again, supply and demand. If you have too much milk, your body will eventually learn that, oh, baby doesn't need that much milk, so it will adjust itself accordingly, because the body is super amazing and it does stuff like that. Now, regardless of your supply, it's really important to stay patient and calm and as stress-free as you can. And I know that's easier said than done, but trusting in your body and just what you are able to do as a woman can really give you some peace of mind. And that's why connecting with community is really, really important. So I highly recommend connecting with other nursing moms. You'll just feel better. It's just nice to have other people who are going through the same thing. Also, give it time. Breastfeeding takes a while to adjust. Some women take up to 3 months for your milk supply to fully adjust to your baby's needs. So it can be frustrating and exhausting, and you can feel like this is never going to work for me, but give it time and I promise it will get better. Get some help, get some tips, get a lactation consultant if you need, but give it time. And I'll say it one more time, it's really important. Get proper help if you need it from a lactation consultant or somebody who knows what they're doing. Another really important thing to remember is to just try and not give up. I know it's hard. I know it's easier said than done for some women. There are a very small percentage of women who physically cannot breastfeed. But then there is a much larger portion of women who get stuck in booby traps by either receiving information from people who are not qualified or just misguided, usually well-intentioned people, but they end up falling into things like with either sleep routines that mess up their milk supply and actually cause huge problems in breastfeeding, or trying to exclusively pump and bottle feed their baby. That can also create a lot of problems. So there are just a lot of things, and if you want to know more, again, you can just look up booby traps and there will be huge lists. But it's really important to just trust your body and your instincts, because if you really listen, you usually know exactly what you need to do for your baby and for your body. Now, to maintain a healthy milk supply, there is one huge thing you need to do, is to stay healthy yourself. To be able to produce healthy breast milk, you need to be consuming healthy foods. So make sure you're getting enough calories from clean food sources, and clean foods. Don't be eating a bunch of processed foods. I mean, of course, we all eat the occasional brownies, but it's really important to be getting good protein, good healthy complex carbohydrates, and of course lots of fruits and vegetables. And the big one, drink so much water, you guys. For good breast milk supply, you should be aiming for about 2 liters of water a day. And I know that can be hard, but I find it personally helps me if I start with water in the morning. Like first thing when I wake up, like I'll have a glass of warm room temperature water. It's usually best for your body to drink room temperature, but anyway, I find that if I have a hot drink in the morning, it actually like delays my thirst. So drink that water. A lot of women have some trouble with baby's latch. If you're having an issue like with baby not opening wide enough, some things you could do would be to tickle the bottom lip with your nipple and get the baby to open up, and then you can quickly pop your boob in there, or also using the tip of your finger or thumb will work well too. Holding baby's chest close as well to your body will help the bottom jaw open wider if you're having trouble with the bottom jaw of your baby. Both my babies have lip ties, and even with a baby who doesn't, sometimes you need to manually adjust the top lip to bring it up over your areola, and then eventually babies usually will get the hang of it, but in the first few months manually adjusting it can be helpful. Something really important is just to make sure that the baby's nose is clear of your breast. I know sometimes it's just kind of all up in there, and so sometimes if you put if your baby's too smushed in there, they can't breathe, and so they will automatically unlatch. So if you're having trouble with baby unlatching, just make sure that baby's nose is clear and baby can breathe, and also clear of like congestion as well. It's also important to take really good care of your breasts to avoid things like mastitis or breast infections or thrush and things like that. Helpful things to do would be to massage your breasts in a hot shower regularly. Every time you have a shower, just start from the top and kind of give them a massage down to your areola, and that will really help prevent clogged ducts and just keep the milk flow good. To prevent cracking and bleeding or just regular maintenance, coconut oil on the nipples and areola and all over will actually be really beneficial to the skin and to the drying out that can occur from baby always nursing. Underwire free bras are important in my opinion because the underwire can sometimes create clogged ducts, especially if you wear a bra all day. Just the constant pressure on the underneath of your breasts can just clog up that milk, so try and avoid underwire if you can. If you can let your breasts air out, that is super beneficial too, to just let them come in contact with the air, especially in the beginning, and especially if this is your first baby. It will really help to prevent bacteria and like things like thrush, and it also helps with like cracked nipples as well, and just even expressing some of your breast milk and putting them on your nipples and then just letting them air out will really help to prevent all the cracking and bleeding and yuckiness. When you can go braless at home, braless is always best for a breastfeeding mom, as it just lets everything do its natural thing, and always go braless at night. Do not wear a bra to bed, in my opinion, because there's not really a reason for it, and it will, like bras and breastfeeding, it's not good to have them cooped up 24/7. I know some women are uncomfortable with braless, and something I do is I wear bralettes, and I find them really comfy, and they do what I need them to do, so maybe that could help you. And of course, the biggest thing is just stop and relax. Stop thinking so much and just try and enjoy the moment. I know it's hard and it can be really overwhelming, especially in those first few months. Try your hardest to listen to your own instincts and your baby, because in the long run, they will tell you everything if you truly just get in touch and listen and try and tune out everything. Sometimes you have to tune out all the advice, because sometimes you get a lot of unsolicited advice. Sometimes you just have to tune out everything and listen to yourself, because in the end, you and your baby know what's best for you and your baby. And again, relax, enjoy. This time is super fleeting, and although it can be overwhelming at times, just try and soak in your baby, no matter what age they are. Soak in your toddler. It's a beautiful, fleeting time, and before you know it, they're going to be not nursing anymore, and you're going to miss it. And with the extended breastfeeding, if you didn't know, even the World Health Organization, they call it the WHO till 2, they recommend breastfeeding until a minimum of 2 years old. And if you want to know more about that, you can go look. KellyMom.com is a fantastic resource for breastfeeding. Breast milk provides still so much nutrition at 2 years old. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you are open-minded and willing to look into it, I highly suggest it, because you could learn some great information. I know I was like At first, when I first heard about it before, I was like, oh, I don't know if I would nurse my 2-year-old. And then I looked into it and I read all this information and I started connecting with moms who nurse their toddlers too, and I realized how natural it was and how normal it was, and I couldn't pass up those amazing benefits and the bond, and it actually helped a lot, with parenting and with the tantrums and with communication issues, because that's such a huge age of communication. Nursing can actually surprisingly really help you in your parenting. And of course, since you have the breast milk, I say this now, take advantage of it and use it for everything. Breast milk can be used for so many things. You can use it to cure acne, it gets rid of zits, bum rash, ear infections, pink eye. Oh gosh, there are so many uses. Burns, mosquito bites, insect bites. Breast milk is like this miracle thing. I wish I could bottle it and keep it in my cabinet forever for like medicinal uses, because it is super, super great on so many things. And if you want to know more, you can go look that up as well. So you guys, I really hope this was helpful, or you took something away from this that was positive and good. Again, I don't judge anybody for how they choose to raise their family or feed their family. This is just what I do and what I've experienced along the way, and I know I can't possibly cover every single little detail, so I hope I've covered enough bases to help some of you. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to ask, leave them below or on Instagram. And I think this will be the only breastfeeding video like this I do, but I am more than willing to do some question and answers down the road. So if you have any questions, maybe I'll just put up like in a little while, a few months or something, then will do a Q&A for you and answer more questions there. So thank you for taking the time to listen to all that, and I hope you have or are having or have had a beautiful breastfeeding experience, and as always, we will see you next video. Bye!